Hi guys, welcome back. So there are big changes happening in international rugby starting as soon as 2026. Now we know that World Rugby's been trying to align the global calendar, reduce the tension between clubs and international teams, get a better experience for players, make more money as well. And there's been a big meeting between all the major stakeholders, players, unions, the British and Irish Lions, all the leagues, all the professional leagues, the Six Nations, the Rugby Championship, etc. And it looks like they're getting close, although there's another meeting in October, I think. But it looks like it's going to happen, which is pretty huge. They're going to try and replace the June and November test windows with something a little bit more meaningful. I mean, they are cool one-off games. And also you do get some really interesting tours, but it looks like the old school tour will probably be dead. And they're going to try and replace it with some sort of World League. We don't know what it's going to be called. But what we do know, if it does happen, which I think it will, it's going to be every 2 years in between the World Cup and the British and Irish Lions tour, so those would carry on. Would it diminish from the World Cup having a World League? Well, we've had this discussion before, and I think the answer was probably a bit, but I think that's just the way it's going to be. Anyway, this came out, I think, yesterday, and I was going through who would be in these world leagues. It looks like there's going to be 2 leagues. I was thinking, is it going to be 10 teams? Because then you have the Six Nations teams and the Rugby Championships teams, and that makes it 10. But it looks like there's going to be 12 because we had some new info out today. So I was looking through it, trying to make sense of it. And this is what I think what could happen starting in 2026. The Six Nations and SANZAAR are going to come together and run the new competition. Let me know what you think it should be called. It says in the release that it's going to be played in July and November, but surely the Six Nations is going to stay February, March and still count towards this World League, kind of the old school double header games that you get in amateur rugby. So surely they're not going to move the Six Nations or get rid of it. So I'm guessing it just means this is replacing the one-off matches or the tours that would normally happen in July and November. And again, I'm guessing that the Rugby Championship would carry on running as normal. But let me know if you think it's going to be even bigger than that. Anyway, so the Six Nations games would count for the Six Nations and for the World League. That's the only way I can think it would work. But let me know if you think they're going to go more radical than that, or if I'm a little bit off there. But anyway, the 2 tiers. Tier 1 is going to be the Six Nations teams, and Italy are a bit fortunate here because they are outside the top 12 at 14 at the moment. So they're going to start maybe up a little higher than maybe they deserve, I guess, on world rankings. But, there's no way of getting around that if you're going to keep the Six Nations as it is. Plus the Rugby Championship teams. So that makes it 10. And then they're going to have to invite 2 more, and that's going to be a can of worms who they invite, because strictly on world ranking, number 1 would be Japan, and I think they will invite Japan for sure. Now, geographically, they're not actually close to any of those Rugby Championship teams, even though on a map maybe it feels or looks like it. They're not Southern Hemisphere, but it will be Japan, I'm certain. And who else will they pick? That is the big question. Georgia are 11 at the moment, Samoa are 12, but I don't think they'd pick either. I think they'd make a case for Fiji being closer to New Zealand and Australia. They got a pro league in Super Rugby, etc. So I think Georgia and Samoa might be disappointed there. Samoa could be the big losers there because they don't play against the European teams regularly. Anyway, let me know if you think I'll be right there, but there's going to be apparently a transparent selection process to invite these 2 teams, which I think are going to be Japan and Fiji. So then I was thinking, if that is the case, who would be tier 2? Well, then you have a lot of European teams, you have some American teams. So Georgia are 11, Samoa 12, saying world rankings here, Tonga 15, Portugal 16, Uruguay 17, USA 18, Romania 19, Spain 20, Namibia 21, Chile 22, Canada 23, so that makes 11, and we'll come back to that. So I think the European teams would carry on playing in that competition and they'd be counted as double headers, as well as I think the teams like Uruguay, USA, Chile, Canada, Brazil maybe, they would carry on playing in the Americas Rugby Championship and they would be counted as double headers towards this World League. Because next on the rankings are Hong Kong, Russia, Brazil, Switzerland, Belgium. Let me know who you think the 12th team would be. That's interesting. And some of those other teams don't have opportunities to play other people in that league. Maybe Namibia might struggle. So how would they get all their games in if that is how Tier 2 would be made up? Also, we did get a hint that there would be a relegation match. It doesn't sound like there'd be automatic promotion and relegation, which is interesting. It would be a really cool game, but it looks like it would be a playoff between the bottom of League 1 and the top of League 2, or maybe the two teams, but I think it would be one team. Let me know if you think that's fair or it should be automatic. So finally, in summary, do I think it could work? Yes, I do. I think it's going to happen. There's definitely a few kinks. There's definitely going to be some controversy like I've outlined already. Is it going to devalue the World Cup? I think yes, it will a bit, but that's just going to be how it is, I think. And every 4 years, I think the British and Irish Lions years are going to be the year of tours. Obviously, you've got the Lions tour, and then everyone else will tour as well. The British and Irish sides will have depleted sides, but I think everyone will just tour each other, so that could be quite fun. So I think it's happening. The World League, or whatever it's going to be called, all the comments below, let me know how you think it could work with the two leagues, how it's going to work with the existing Six Nations and Rugby Championship, because there's still some stuff up in the air. Help me out in the comments, and I'll catch you next time.